Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dream Team Tonic podcast, episode number 79. And for the first time in quite a few weeks, the three amigos are back.
We
are back! We are back! We are getting Doug back!
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have. We're the three best friends that anyone could have. We're the three best friends that anyone can have. And we'll never, ever, 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 ever leave each other. We're the best three friends that anybody can have.
The Wolfpack,
we
you've returned.
I have. Do you like me tan?
Love it, mate. Love it. So, I'm Tony. Ben's back. James, are you there?
I'm here, Tony.
All reunited. Back to normality. It's been
Afraid so.
Been a hectic, crazy few weeks. Just opening. Thanks to the new patrons that signed up in the last week or so. Born for FPL, Ben Coles, Steve Baker, and Brad Hayden. Thanks very much for your support. Thanks to everyone that's already supporting us. It's much appreciated. Hopefully having a decent start. It's been a tough few weeks, and we were expecting. Well, I say expecting. We were hoping that this week would be a little bit better. The points would have been a little bit higher. But there is still midweek to go. But let's have a look at the teams, and straight over to your team, James. How have you done, mate?
Not brilliantly this week, but in terms of, well, I've looked at a few other teams, and I don't think mine's any worse than anyone else's, really. 28 points. Got a couple of clean sheets from Alexander-Arnold and Tsimikas. So I made some transfers. I got rid of Robertson and brought in Tsimikas. I was thinking about getting rid of Robertson anyway, and then I saw that he wasn't in the team. And Tsimikas had, prior to this weekend, had come on in 4 out of the 5 fixtures. So I thought he could be like the equivalent of Sassignon in that respect. Yeah. With hindsight, I'm now thinking I might have made a ricket there because I don't know if now that Liverpool seem to have a lot more players coming back, switching the left back going to be a priority for Klopp? Perhaps he won't come on as often as he has done. So I might have cocked up there, to be honest with you. That's the trouble. The Liverpool game was on first, and I'd been thinking about transfers all week, but I hadn't actually sort of really sat down and played with it properly. And then, of course, I banged 3 transfers out initially. So I did Robertson to Tsimikas, Odegaard to Sterling, and then Buemo to Carvalho. And then later on in the day, I think I saw the West Ham team sheet. Cresswell wasn't starting, so I did Cresswell to Cucurella. So I've burned 4 transfers already, which is really unlike me. I feel like
what's going on, James?
I feel like I'm possessed by a casual. I don't know. It's just bizarre. But I think Cucurella is a good option. I think Sterling's a good option. But I am concerned. Well, Carvalho came off injured. He's got apparently can't bend his knee. Apparently, that doesn't sound great. I'm hoping it was just a heavy knock and it was loads of bruising. But we'll see. And of course, we've got other players coming back now, so you could argue Carvalho is less likely to come on now because we've got other players coming back. And I hadn't really factored that into my thinking properly. So I'm holding my hands up and saying I think I've made a bit of a schoolboy error. But we'll see, won't we? Hopefully they will get some decent starts this month. And if it looks like it's trailing off, then next month I can look to rectify that. Because if they do start, I think they'll get some decent points. But we'll see. So anyway, I've digressed slightly. Spurs didn't get anything, did they? So I've got Lloris got me 0, so did Sessegnon. Cucurella got me -1. In midfield, My midfield got me 0, which was Sterling 0, Carvalho 0, Kulusevski 0. Bit concerned about Kulusevski. He's not really done anything since the first game, really. And now Carlson came on, and he looked amazing. And I didn't watch the game, but in the highlights, Carlson looked really good. And I spoke to a couple of Spurs fans that I know, and they said, yeah, he was fantastic. So, because sometimes the highlights can sort of give you a false impression, can't they? But no, he did play as well as he looked he had. Up front, Salah got 0, Kane got 8, and Haaland got 8. So 28 points in total. Hoping for some big hauls midweek to boost the scores up.
Yeah, we see it quite a lot, don't we? With a small score at the weekend, and then by the time it comes down to Thursday night, we're all happy again because the boys have done the business in Europe.
Yeah.
But hoping for one of them. Over to your team, Ben.
Yep, another good week for me. Well, I think everyone's in the same boat at the moment.
Yeah.
24 points. Salah, Haaland, and Kane up front, like James, same points. Kulusevski, 0. Odegaard, 0. Carvalho, Elliott, 0. Sessegnon, 0. Alexander on 5. Cancelo, 3. And De Gea, 0. I had 4 transfers, I think, left on Thursday night. God, that was the worst night ever, honestly. Trying to do 10 teams with loads of transfer. I must have had about 30 transfers left.
You've saved too many, haven't you?
Yeah. That's what happens when you go on holiday and you enjoy stuff. Yeah, so I brought De Gea in for Meslier. I brought Odegaard in for Saka to enable the transfers, so I could bring in. 1 second, I'll just bring it up. I've got it here. 1 second. All right, there we are. Yeah, so I had Lingard in midfield and then Bumo, who scored.
Yeah,
But
typically.
long term, I think it's the right thing to do to get rid of them. Elliott and Carvalho came in for them too. Saka went for Odegaard to enable me to upgrade my keeper as well. So I've got De Gea in goal. I think he was unlucky to not get a rating as well. Sessegnon, he was flying. He was on 8 rating. Obviously with his not 8 rating, full rating with a clean sheet. And then as soon as he lost the clean sheet, he just missed out on the rating. I think he got 6.97. And he had about 6 shots in the game, two on target. He was involved with the goal, even though you don't get the assist in Dream Team for a deflection. But he got the assist in FPL. But that's different roles, isn't it? But yeah, I'm just looking forward to the European games now. See what happens.
Yep. It's 24 points. Like I say, just a quiet weekend, isn't it? Quiet weekend all round.
I'm just glad I've got rid of all my non-European playing players now.
Yeah, that's it. It's tidied up. Because obviously big fixture count difference this month. So
yeah,
I think that's probably essential, isn't it?
And I've still got 5 transfers for the rest of the month, so can see how this week goes, and then I'll reassess.
How much have you got in bank there? Do you know?
Oh, that's another good question. 0.2. 0.2, mate. Yeah.
Big players there at back, Cancelo and Trent.
Yeah. I got the price rises on De Gea, Carvalho, Odegaard as well, so I can move them on if I want to at some point. I thought De Gea will get closer to Lloris with the price rise as well.
Yeah.
So I might bring Lloris in later. See how he goes if he plays in Europe. I don't think he will play in Europe because Dubravka's just signed for United and he'll probably play in the Cups.
Yeah, they had 2 keepers on bench today, didn't they?
Did they?
They had Heaton and Dubravka on bench. It's a strange one,
Mm.
but yeah, I don't think Heaton will be happy about Dubravka coming in, because if he does
No.
take the European games now, then he'll be thinking, what am I doing here? But yeah, over to my side. So 2 changes straight off. Zinchenko and Ramsdale both out, and that enabled me to upgrade to Sterling and to Hugo Lloris. I fancy Spurs games in Europe, and Sterling's been doing all right with main man at Chelsea. So Lloris got me 0 points, a little bit frustrating, along with Sessegnon. With 82nd minute, Mitrovic curled that one into the top corner. A little bit frustrating, but that's how it goes. Dalot got me 3 points. I brought in Thursday night, my last few transfers in this side. So decent 3 points for me. Had a good game.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk about Tsimikas and the Robertson thing. It was pecking my head a little bit, because I'm trying to weigh out the pros and cons of it. And then I just decided to stick, because I thought he's probably, is he just giving him a rest? I don't know, in the lead up to a load of games. Tsimikas has done well when he's come on, though. Robertson's looked out of sorts, so it was like a chance for Tsimikas to probably stake his claim. But I thought, if Liverpool concede, I've not lost anything. Hopefully Robertson don't come on and I can switch him out. But if they keep a clean sheet, surely Robertson comes on at some point, so I just steal the 5 points. And that's the way it played out. So I'm glad I saved that transfer. In midfield, Kulusevski 0, Odegaard 0, Sterling 0, De Bruyne 10 points. Had a good game. Haaland 8 points, Kane 8 points, and Jesus, who were unreal again today. He were brilliant. Only 2 points. Obviously 7 rating, and picked up a yellow card. When you scrap like he does up front, he's going to pick up them yellow cards here and there. 36. Go on,
Sorry,
mate.
the Arsenal player to get a rating as well.
Yeah. There were a few minus points in that back line, weren't they, after conceding 3 as well.
Yeah.
Saka obviously got the goal, but he lost his rating with that yellow card. So, yeah, 36 points for the week so far. But it's a team full of hopefully European playing players. So I should have 11 more fixtures to come this week. Yeah, that's why I'm playing it. 247. It's on. I think the podcast team is my second worst team. My first worst team, that is probably I've literally give up with it. Was one that started with very heavy Liverpool at the start.
That's my worst team.
Yeah, it just hasn't done anything.
Crazy.
But obviously, they started with like a few dodgy results, and then you've had Núñez getting his red card. It's just not been able to recover. So I think I'm down to 9 sides now. Pretty bunched up.
You giving up on that last side already?
Well, I'm not giving up on it, but I'm just
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm having to go a little bit gung ho in it.
Yeah.
To try and turn its fortunes around. But yeah, it's one of them. It's one of them, whether it can catch up like the 60, 70 points it's already behind my 9th best team. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Right, from the teams to the questions. We've got the questions from Twitter and from our Discord. So there's a few questions about Salah. Obviously, his quiet start to the season continues. There's a lot of owners getting restless. There's a lot of people that have already jumped off him. I don't think we've seen his ownership so low for quite a while, quite a good few years in Dream Team. So I'll read out a few questions and we'll touch on this. So David 87. I know everyone when asked reverts to saying Salah is essential, but now we're a month in. Is he actually essential this season? He and Liverpool are not firing. Budgets are still tight, and when you drill it down into the stats, he's had 17 shots in the Premier League compared to Darwin's 15, who has just served a 3-match suspension. Nearly 3 million difference there, which could go a long way to improving the rest of the team. As well as that, we've had C. Tobbs, who's time to ditch Salah. How long do we give him? Salah to Kane for now, and then bring back if he hits form again. And then we'll throw Connor's first question in with: can we justify having Kane over Salah? Salah's at 40% ownership and dropping. A front three of Jesus, Kane, Haaland could be a cracker. Then when Jesus fixtures get bad, straight swap to Nunez. Wide eyes. So James, you've had a bit of a delve into this for us.
I have. So I went onto the Fantasy Football Hub website and I looked at Salah's stats for last year and this year so far. And Salah is down in every single category apart from chances created, quite considerably down. So, well, just to reel off a couple of the figures, his expected goals.
Per start.
So his expected goals this year so far are 0.338. Last season they were 0.73. Expected assists, they're 0.29. Last year they were 0.40. So, if you delve, I mean, they've got some nice charts on the Fantasy Football Hub where you can see, where you can overlay the two performances, and last year's is way higher in all the categories. Big chances created, shots in the box, shots on target, all the key figures. So there's definitely been a regression there.
Yeah, that definitely looks like it. What about in comparison to Kane then?
So if you compare Salah to Kane, Kane is better on all of the key metrics apart from chances created and touches in the box and through balls. But all the key ones that generally translate to points are expected assists, expected goals, big chances, shots in the box, shots on target, number of shots. Kane is higher in all of those areas than Salah at the moment. Obviously, that can change quite quickly. We're still fairly, we're only a few games into the season, really. Liverpool are struggling as a team. Salah's not performing brilliantly, but there's been a number of games where he could have scored. Last week he could have scored a brace. He should have got a goal this weekend. Yeah, he's not quite far in at the moment, but I think when we get we need to get our midfield sorted out. Get Thiago back in there. Hopefully, the new player Arthur will help out as well in that respect. Although, from having looked at him, he looks like he's more of a holding midfielder. So I'm not expecting too much from him from an attacking sense. But I can't profess to be an expert on him at this stage. So that's a wait and see. He was. I reckon he'll start soon. Once his international clearance comes through.
Do you think it's a case of they're trying to get the ball into the box more for Nunez? So rather than you've seen over the season Salah when he is out wide, and he does start, a lot of his starting positions are out wide, but you see him cut in so many times and wrap him into far bottom corner and have shots himself. Do you think now knowing you've got this Nunez who's quite powerful in air, do you think there's more balls being whipped into box by Salah, who's been a little bit more unselfish?
I've no doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, the one stat he is up on is chances created, and it looks like we're going to be funneling a lot more through Nunez. I mean, I think we needed to change our style of play. It's unfortunate that Nunez got suspended for 3 games because I think we've become a bit predictable. Everyone knows how Liverpool play, so bringing Nunez in was a way to sort of change that. And then he gets suspended, so that's not really helped our season at all. And it's it just means it's going to take him a bit longer to get up to speed. But hopefully, well, at least we'll have some more strings to our bow, if you know what I mean. He's a tall player. He can hold the ball up. Um, you can fire in those crosses to him, and hopefully we'll get on the end of them. So
Yeah.
we couldn't really do that before with the players that we had, sort of playing more false, almost like a false nine role, really, than an out and out number 9. So he just gives us a different pattern of play, a different way of playing. So I'm hoping that will help us. We'll turn our season around, basically.
Did you make the move in any of your sides this weekend, Salah to Kane?
No, I didn't.
Did you, Ben?
Never.
No, I didn't either.
Did you?
No, I didn't. But I've seen a few whispers on Discord of it. I didn't know whether any of us had done that. But yeah, if you've got Salah, I don't think you take him out. It's very risky.
Yeah.
But as it goes on, and I want to watch this pattern of play a little bit more, especially now Núñez is in the side, and so over the next couple of games, I watch Liverpool, and I just want to see, because I wouldn't say we're greedy, Salah, but I think the way Liverpool played, like you say, with a false 9, so you'd have that striker, the middleman dropping deep, linking the play, and then you had Mane from one end, cutting in, and Salah from the other, and that's how they used to play. And basically, they used to play as the two forwards, and used to have the say Firmino or Jota linking the play or whatever. Whereas now it seems like, because you've got a proper number 9, he's that man in the box. I just, maybe he's just going to become an assist machine, Salah. Yeah, it's one to watch.
I think it's way too soon to start thinking about shipping Salah.
Yeah,
I've been looking at the stats from the last few seasons. So in 2018-19 season, he finished 3rd overall with an average of 5.6 points, 291 points. The 19-20 season, he finished with 251 points, 6 points per game, 3rd overall. The 2021 season, 5.6 points per game, 265 points, 3rd overall. And last season, number 1, top of the shop, 334 points, 6.5 points per game. So he's never been out of the top 3 in those 4 seasons. So if you have him for all that season and you don't move him, he's guaranteed 250 points, I think. But it's what you can do with the value. That's what people are talking about, aren't they?
I mean, obviously, hindsight is wonderful, but obviously the perfect play at this moment in time would be to have started with Jesus, Haaland, Kane, and then now it would be to jump from one of those to an informed Salah, and they're the people that are beside at the top. But obviously, when's that going to turn? It's going to be interesting.
I still think he's doing all right, though.
He's ticking over.
Got 4.7 points average per game, and he's got 28 points. That's just because Haaland's had such a ridiculous start. Everyone's like thinking, "Oh, he's not playing well," but
it's
he's still
only
ticking over well. You want about average 5 points a game.
Yeah. What's Kane on 37, so he's only 9 ahead of Salah. Puts it into a little bit of perspective.
It's 1 goal, isn't it?
Yeah, 1 goal. I mean, at United, all you had to do was bundle one out line, weren't it? You got to start him out.
Yeah.
But we'll touch on that a little bit later. So go just on to the questions then. So Salah essential. Are we saying he's still essential?
I'm keeping him. I've got him in all 10 teams.
I'm keeping a very close eye on him, but he's essential at the moment.
It's good though that you said he's still getting the chances as well, James, because you watch every Liverpool game. So if he just turns them into, and he gets penalties as well, like what's another boat to his string to his bow.
I've got him in 6 sides.
You haven't got him in your pod team, have you?
No, I haven't from the start, because I started with Trent and Robbo.
Yeah.
But yeah, my front three in my podcast team is now Jesus, Kane, and Haaland.
Mm.
I think I can't remember. Yeah, it'd be tough to get him into that side because again, I would take one of them out to put him in, but especially when he's not firing. But he's still there in six on the other sides. He's in my second and third best side, so he can't be doing too badly. And yeah, I won't be taking him out of them. Right. Yeah, hopefully that covers that for you. I'll put all the stats and graphs and heat maps from Fantasy Football Hub showing Salah and Kane comparison. I'll put that up on the YouTube video so everyone can see that. And while you're there, if you just touch in the description, there'll be a link to our Fantasy Football Hub. To the Fantasy Football Hub, you sign up through there. We get a little bit of something in return. So it helps keep supporting us. But yeah, some fabulous stuff on the Fantasy Football Hub website. Get yourself over there. Lots of nice tools to help your game,
Including our Dream Team articles.
including our Dream Team articles. Yeah, where right, Connor. So we just touched on his first question. What do you think about? He's put there when Jesus fixtures turn. What do you think about Jesus to Nunes? I reckon, James, is that a move you might be making?
Not well. The trouble is, of course, we've got Jota's coming back. Firmino's been playing pretty decently. I don't think he's gonna. I don't know if he's that nailed to start every game at the moment. I think he will. I think he will become the de facto choice up front, but I don't know whether I would do that move now. I think I'd need to see a little bit more from him. He got subbed yesterday for Jota, so that just tells you that we've got options.
Yeah.
Who do you think starts midweek against Napoli in centre forward?
God, that's a tricky one.
Surely
If Jota
Firmino.
was fully fit, I would say Jota because he only got 10 minutes, but he's not. He's only just come back from injury, so I think probably Nunes will start that.
Really?
Well, he needs game time, doesn't he? He's been out. He couldn't play for 3 games. He's been brought in as our marquee striker. He needs game time, so I would have thought he'll start. I mean, I suppose Firmino could do, but
yeah. Because Firmino's done so well in the last 2 games. I'm surprised to see him on the bench the weekend. But yeah.
Well, he's also had injury problems himself, hasn't he? So, including earlier in this season, he does pick up injuries. Generally, he's out. If he does, then he's out for 3 or 4 or 5 games. So, I think Klopp's just trying to keep everyone fit at the moment because we've got enough problems in our midfield.
Yeah, definitely. Second question from Connor. Do you all still think a European playing keeper is essential? Non-European playing keepers proving their worth again this week in the form of Nick Pope, clean sheet and Starman. Way. What do you reckon, Ben? You're like a cheap keeper.
Yeah, I always like to start with cheap keeper. So no, not essential yet. He's probably the last player I'd bring in to my 11 to get a European player. I like to have my money on the field because you get more points from strikers, midfielders, defenders than you do usually from a goalkeeper. Unless your name's Nick Pope, who gets star man every week.
Yeah.
Cheat code at the moment, isn't he? So
He is
3 star mans already in 6 games. Crazy.
He's like a Dharma Traore, isn't he?
Was it Jose Sarr last year? He was doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you reckon, James?
Well, it's all Dream Team is all about fixture volume, isn't it? So in an ideal world, you would have a Euro keeper. So if you can do it, I would do it. But like Ben said, it is probably the last position that if you've it's not the most important position to get that done. So if you can leave it for a bit longer if you want to, wait for an opportunity for one of those heavy hitting goalkeepers maybe to just drop that little bit, and hopefully your current goalkeeper will go up,
Yeah.
and then you can jump on.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be probably from Nick Pope, depending on obviously how it goes midweek, but Nick Pope probably go up, I think you're at 3.3, so if he goes up another 0.3, you'd be 3.6.
Mm.
So he's then going to be more expensive than Lloris, Mendy, I would say, depending on obviously midweek. Who else is there? Obviously, he's more expensive than. I mean, Lloris and Mendy should be nearly Champions League. So they literally do have 2 fixtures a week to everyone on Nick Pope. So if you've got a transfer there, I'd be making it. Although it does seem like a cheat code, and you could just leave him in. Yeah. Well, not
Fixtures are nice.
essential.
The fixtures are nice for Newcastle at the moment as well. So if you have him, it's not essential to move off him, I suppose, if he's doing so well.
But he might then, if the fixtures are turning a little bit nicer, he might not be getting the Star Man Awards. Then he might not be making as many saves.
Yeah, just keep an eye on him, really. But yeah, if you've got him, you've done well, and you've got the price rises, so you can move off eventually.
Definitely. That Newcastle backline is doing all right for points. Right, Wadey. Another bit of a cheat code here. Thiago Silva is really catching my eye. Despite the Chelsea lack of clean sheets, he seems to be a Starman magnet. I know he's a little expensive, but is he worth jumping on? So Thiago Silva, he's had Starman in his last 2 games. 5 out of 6 games, he's had 7 or more ratings. That's the same amount as Harry Kane and Haaland. It's 5.1 million. Having a decent start, isn't he? Would you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, having a very good start. But 5.1 million is a lot of money, I think, for an aging centre back. I know he's a star man, like rating player, does well, but you can get Fofana for 2.9 million, who plays beside him. Kukureya, 3 million, and then you've got obviously James is only 0.6 more. If you can get to him, I'd rather have James because he's a star man magnet as well. And he might miss a few games as well because there's double game weeks coming up every week now, and he's an old man now, 38. So depends how fit he can stay.
Did it hurt then saying Fofana?
Fofana.
Fuck off, Fofana. Yeah, that was a long drawn out saga, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Should have been done months ago. What do you reckon, James? Thiago Silva?
Totally agree with what Ben said. And I would also question, is he going to continue getting Star Man awards? Unless there is some talk that the rating systems have completely changed this year with the hidden algorithm and stuff. But is he going to keep getting Star Man awards? You would think perhaps when Chelsea open up a bit more, get a bit more fluid in attack, perhaps when Aubameyang comes in there. I would think the Star Man Award would normally go to the players that score in the goals and further up the pitch. So, but saying that, we have seen some weird ratings and stuff this year. So if that continues, I would be surprised, but I would expect Star Man Awards to be further up the field.
Yeah, I think it's seeming like, I don't know, tackles won or duels won, saves made. I think they seem to be doing quite well to bumping people's ratings up by the looks of it. It's not the clean sheets that are doing it, is it?
Certainly not, no.
No. A couple of questions about Kevin De Bruyne. Always a hot topic throughout the season, De Bruyne. I haven't got De Bruyne. This is Aman 26, sorry. I haven't got De Bruyne in my team, but are there any other City midfielders he could target which is the best besides KDB? Ben?
Well, the best City midfielder is not a midfielder. It's Cancelo. I think he's the next best one after De Bruyne. I've got him in quite a few teams, and I just like him because he gets the clean sheet points as well. Seems to be a 7 rating monster, and scored the other week as well. So hopefully he'll get a few more goals. But if you did want to pick a Man City midfielder, probably value for money is probably Gundogan for me. He's only 4.4 million. He'll probably go down if he don't score this week in the Champions League. So you might be able to get him for around 4.2 or something.
Yeah.
He's got 3.5 points per game so far. But yeah, there's probably better looking at other midfielders that are cheaper in other teams. What do you think, James?
I think Gundogan is the best option. I mean, he's getting decent game time. He's captain now. He's making those runs forward, assuming Pep allows him to do that based on his tactics. I suppose Mahrez might come into his own now that the Champions League's back. He's done absolutely nothing in August. He was my differential pick, and he got me 0 points. But at least he didn't get me -1, which was what Fergie got with his pick. But no, he was a bit unlucky. He picked Matip. Matip shipped a goal and then got injured. So Mahrez was a worse pick, I think, because he was actually starting and he still got nothing. Or he's getting some minutes, not starting. So it'd be interesting to see if Mahrez does come back into our thoughts now the Champions League's back. But I can't touch him. I know we always have this conversation, but I'm not touching him until I see some evidence of that.
Yeah, I've got Gundo down. My differential pick this month, Gundogan. I'd say he's finding some very good positions. Finds himself up in and around the box. He had last season. He had that great goal scoring run, or the season before. But yeah, he's playing in positions where he's probably got the ability to go on one of them little runs again. So I brought him into a couple of sides, and I've picked him on the differential. So that's one I'd be going for, man. Especially as like City probably, they look like they could be a bit of a machine again this year. So loading up on a few City players is probably quite a wise idea to try and spread out your chances of picking up any other holes, especially if they start battering a few teams. So yeah, next one on KDB. That's not on KDB, but DT Patrick. Judging from what you've seen so far, what would be your best guesses for the Premier League top 6 final positions? James.
Well, I think we're all going to have the same one at number 1, aren't we? That's City.
Check.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to pick this year. I've rearranged the other 5 several times. I've got Spurs as number 2, Liverpool as number 3, Arsenal as 4, Chelsea as 5, and United as 6th.
Yeah, I've got Chelsea and United 5th and 6th. How about you, Ben?
I got Man City, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea, Man U, Arsenal.
Oh.
Big fall
to
for
be
Arsenal.
fair, Arsenal haven't really faced anyone until today. And the first real test they have, they fall over. They look good, though.
They did look good. They played some good stuff, Arsenal. Very unlucky, I reckon.
They were a bit unlucky, I think.
Yeah. Seemed to just... Them moments just went against them. Seemed like... I went City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, United. That's our picks, Patrick.
So we've all got Chelsea and United as 5th and 6th, have we? I think.
No, I've got 4th. I think they're going to click at some point.
Well,
Okay.
we've been waiting for the last 4 or 5 years, haven't we?
I just think Fofana is a great signing for them, and obviously Aubameyang coming back, Sterling. I just think they're going to be good.
Or Chelsea. I thought you were on about United.
No, and about Chelsea. I
All
think
right.
Chelsea are finishing the top 4.
Right, yeah. Aubameyang.
Mm.
Aubameyang. That's a strange one for me. Strange one. Because he looked off it at Arsenal before he left.
Yeah.
Um,
Done all right at Barcelona, though, didn't he?
how old is he now?
About 32.
32.
I'll Google it.
Yeah.
I got a feeling he might
Yes.
be 33. It's a strange
33.
one.
33.
Yeah.
Desperate for a number 9, weren't they? And then, but most of his time, Aubameyang at Arsenal spent wide left, didn't he?
Yeah, like a left forward, weren't he?
Yeah.
He got 11 goals in 13 starts at Barcelona last year. It's not bad, is it?
It's not bad. It's not the Premier League, though. Yeah, it could go either way, that signing, I suppose. But they was desperate for a few more options up top, having to play Havertz through there or Sterling. So
He's got to be playing the actual number 9, hasn't he? Because
I think so.
Yeah.
you would think Sterling's best position is on the left of the front three,
Yeah.
which has also got competition there from Pulisic. So yeah, surely Aubameyang's going to play through the middle. That doesn't make any sense to do anything else, does it? Maybe Havertz on the other side.
Yeah. 4.5 million in Dream Team. You tempted?
I'm tempted when he comes back from injury.
But he's got a broken jaw, hasn't
Yeah.
Yeah, baseball bat into from someone trying to rob his house or something, wasn't it?
he? Not nice,
Terrible.
Yeah.
is it? It's no wonder he wanted to come back. Things happening like that. Right. Coles 1993. Judging this season, do you guys agree with me and think VAR is an absolute disgrace? There have been quite a few incidents this weekend, especially. There's been quite a few over since it came in. To be fair, but yeah, what do you reckon? What do you reckon, Ben? Is it a disgrace?
VAR it looks like it's going to. It's just I don't know. It's just shocking, absolute shocking. What are they watching? These referees don't have a fucking clue.
Don't hold back now.
Yeah, I think they've got to get an angle on it, and they've got to go to the way, like say, cricket and tennis uses it. They've got to go to the manager has two or three challenges in a game, and it's up to him. If the ref doesn't pull up on something, he thinks he's got something wrong. There's a big buzzer, boom. There's a big klaxon goes off in stadium. They stop the game, and they have a look at it. I mean, there's got to be something where, rather than it get involved in every single little thing, like, I mean, how far do you want to take the game back to where you've made a fucking mistake over a slight little challenge that actually, or did the ball actually go out for a throw in, or whose throw was it? Like, you could just rewind it for however long. It's frustrating, especially when you're on the receiving end of a really dodgy one. Like a few clubs have this weekend. At West Ham, Newcastle, Leeds, Villa to an extent as well. They blew the whistle for the Coutinho swung one into the top corner bar, and in. There's been quite a few incidents where, yeah, it's just getting too involved. Too involved. It should be left for the fundamental errors, not little bits of stuff sticking its nose in here, there, and everywhere, isn't it?
Well, I think the problem is that they have, in these cases, it has gone to VAR and they've still cocked up the decision. That's the worst, though, isn't it? That
Yeah.
when they still can't get it right, or they send the ref over and he looks at it and he's like, well, I daren't. If they've asked me to look at it, that probably means I fucked up. So I better go with what they say. Although in one of the games earlier today, I think one of the refs said, "No, I'm going with my original decision," and that's the first time that's happened, I think. So perhaps a few more of the refs will grow a pair, and if VAR do something stupid and say, it's a penalty and it's not, then they'll just grow a pair and actually go with their original decision, especially if they've looked at the bloody monitor.
Yeah, that's it.
How can they still get these things wrong? It's crazy.
Don't know. I think they feel the pressure when they go into that monitor, don't they? Like you say, it's
Yeah.
they never get over. They always get overturned. Sorry, when they turn up to that monitor, like no one's willing to just stick to their original decision, even if they might be stood there thinking, "Well, no, I think I've got it right." They still feel the pressure. So,
And of course, VAR has completely missed a few. So what was that? Romero was pulling Cucurella's hair, and nothing. Didn't. Nothing happened. That was a crazy one. That he should have been sent off for that. But
yeah,
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 I think the VAR ref must have been asleep or something.
that's it. Needs more coffee. Right, from that, we're on to Matt Woolley's question. As we go into the European matches on the back of a transfer window, where English clubs have appeared in a different planet to almost everyone else, completely outspent everybody, haven't they? Are you expecting English clubs to be more dominant and European matches to provide increasingly bigger hauls? And how many non-European players do you have in your teams? And how quickly are you aiming to get rid? James?
Yeah, I think the Premier League is getting stronger and stronger. There's so much more money in the Premier League at the moment than there is anywhere else, and even the big Spanish sides don't seem to be. Well, we know what's at Barcelona. They're a law unto themselves, aren't they? But they're struggling with money, although they do seem to be managing to pull some levers or whatever they're doing to get a few players in. I mean, a few years ago, the likes of someone like Haaland wouldn't have come to the Premier League. He would have gone to Real Madrid. Yeah, I think we're getting stronger and stronger, and I don't see that changing, to be honest. And I think it will be a bit more, even more one-sided than it has been. There's been a number of years recently, hasn't there, where we've had three sides in that get to the semi-final stage of Champions Leagues and stuff like that. You get the odd year where there's not many, or none, but it's generally it will be dominated by English sides, and I don't see that changing.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, completely agree. I think you'll get the usual Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, maybe an Italian club. But yes, I think it's going to be
PSG and Messi?
Yeah, PSG. Going to dominate. I think we're going to dominate the group stages anyway, so there'll be plenty of goals in there for us to get clean sheets and stuff. So, yeah, want to be jumping on Champions League teams.
Yeah, definitely. And just to the second part of the question, I completely agree with both what you both said. The amount of non-European players, I've got 3 out of all 10 of my sides. I've got 3 non-European players. One's Nick Pope in one of my sides. One's Sanchez at Brighton, and one's Meslier at Leeds. So just the 3. What about you, James?
Yeah. I've got a couple of Sanchez's and a Martinez, and that's about it.
Ben?
Yeah, I've got 3. I've got 2. Sorry, 2 Mesliers in my 2 worst teams. So I think that means to get rid of them.
To upgrade in.
Time to get rid.
Yeah, it's looking likely. Not many places to go from Meslier now, though, is there?
Well, Areola might get European games.
That's true.
Clean sheets.
True. Right, Lee Hooper's question, or 2 questions. Question 1, what do you make of the ratings this year? Been some bizarre stuff going on. Bournemouth defenders and keepers getting 7s in a 9-0 loss, and Forest defenders an 8 in a 6-0 loss. We'll go on to the ratings first. James, what do you think of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's bizarre. At least last year, there seemed to be a pattern, and we all kind of, it had been fairly consistent for a few years, and you could almost, if you watched a game, you could almost predict roughly what they get. But this year, it's some weird ratings. Like, how can you lose 9-0 and get the defender and get a 7 rating? It seems to be. I think, well, we've mentioned this before. Perhaps they've changed it so that it's more based on an individual's performance in terms of their number of tackles and blocks. That's
Yeah.
the only logical explanation I could come up with. I don't like it. Certainly, if they gave us some clue, they don't have to tell us the exact secret algorithm or whatever, but they should have given us a heads up or something just to say we've broadly changed it this way, because at the moment
Yeah.
you're just looking at the ratings going, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, it would ring true. Then them Bournemouth defenders probably had a lot of defending to do in that 9-0 loss. And if they're not going to deduct match rating or a percentage of the match rating for goals conceded or a match result or whatever it might be, if they're just going to keep putting the rating up every time they block a ball, make a challenge, successfully head something, I mean, they got peppered all game. They're going to be getting high ratings, aren't they?
I think that's what they're doing, because we're seeing a lot of keepers getting Star Man awards even when they haven't won the game and they've conceded goals. That's the only explanation I can come up with. So perhaps we should be looking at players that are going to get whooped every week or have to do a hell of a lot of defending. It's weird. I don't like it. I might actually see if I can message Who Scored and just say, look, can you explain this? Because it would be nice to get some insight or some confirmation into the fact that they have changed it. It's definitely changed.
Yeah. No, I mean, don't forget, obviously, Who Scored, like the rating system. It's probably they're not doing their ratings for Dream Team specifically. Do you know what I mean? They've got their own site and their own like little awards and Team of the Weeks and stuff that they do. So if they doing their ratings for a player and how he has performed in that game, rather than they've lost 9-0, so he definitely doesn't get that rating because someone might get 3 points on Dream Team. It's not like that, is it? So maybe they have just tweaked it to favour themselves and not really thought about the impact it would have on the game.
Like last year, or for the last few years, if you scored a hat trick, you definitely get a 10 rating, right?
Yeah.
Haaland only got 8.55. I know he come off early, but he still should have been up 9 something, And who scored a hat trick? Oh, Tony scored a hat trick, and he only got 9.99. Didn't get the full rating. So they're definitely, but they like to put out the team of the week on their website and stuff like that. You'd think they want the ratings to be up a bit more to how it was before last year. Like,
could you imagine if one of them Bournemouth defenders sneaked in with a 7.4 and sneaked into team at week after being drugged 9-0?
It's crazy.
That'd have been hilarious.
But Nico Williams, he got 8.04 after his team just got beat 6-0 at Man City.
So did he not get into the team of the week?
I think he did, yeah.
After being beat 6-0?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen it actually, yeah.
I mean, that's just laughable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
To be fair, I've watched Nico a couple of times now this season. He does look bloody good.
He's doing all the right things, yeah.
Fantastic crossing ability. But yeah, it's no excuse for changing these ratings.
But how can he get an 8 rating after a 6-0 defeat, and then Sessegnon plays like he did at the weekend, and he only got 6.96? It's just ridiculous.
He's not conceding enough goals, is he?
He was involved with the goal as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. We need to keep an eye on, don't we? See what's happening. Like you say, if you can get in touch with Who Scored and see if you can get a response off them, and see if they have tweaked their algorithm and whether they give us any clue as to what they're starting to base it off. But yeah, I mean, if I'd like to see that with that Nico Williams in team at week after being beat 6-0 off City. I mean, that's just crazy.
Crazy.
He's a defender. His job's how many tackles he's made and how well he's going forward. His job's to defend, and they've conceded 6. You're not getting a team a week, mate. But he shouldn't be anyway. Question 2 from Lee Hooper. The game seems so open right now with maybe only Haaland absolutely essential. But I feel like City will win the league by a long way and could go close to winning everything. Is it time to start to load up on City? James.
Tricky one. I mean, Haaland is essential, obviously. No, there's no question about that. KDB is a fantastic option, as is Cancelo. The rest of them, like I said earlier, I mean, Gundogan's looking good. The defence, you don't know who's going to be starting alongside Diaz each week. Even Diaz has not played every game, although they've had a lot of injuries and swapping and changing. It's not settled enough there for me to plump for any other players outside of Cancelo, KDB, Haaland, and Gundogan. For me, I just there's not. I need to see a few more patterns, and Pep's got such a big side to choose from. It's really difficult to pick anyone else at the moment. Alvarez has looked good, but he's down as a striker, so that's the problem you've got there. Any other thoughts, Ben?
No, I completely agree with you. It's just we don't know who's going to play every week in defence at the moment. Like you say, Cancelo's probably the best pick. Yeah. What do you think, Tone?
It's tricky to load up on them because they're so expensive.
Yeah.
The ones that are nailed are Diaz, Cancelo, De Bruyne. They're expensive. Even Foden, who is getting a hell of a lot more minutes now, obviously with Grealish injury. Foden, he's over 5 million as well. Gundogan's a good shout. But to load up, I mean, yeah, it costs a lot of money. They've got that Akanji who's coming from Dortmund, so we don't know where he's going to fit in. There's rumours Walker went off injured.
Yeah, Ake
He's picked
came
up an
on.
injury.
Ake
Yes.
came on instead of him. Because if the other guy had come on, I think we'd all be at 3.5 million. We'd all be clambering. He'd be the next big thing. But clearly, he needs a bit more time to settle in. I imagine.
So you got the other lad Gomez, Akanji. Obviously, Aki's back from injury. Laporte, I'm not too sure how far Laporte is away, but then you got Stones, obviously, who's been playing alongside Diaz. Still quite a bit of cash to load up on them. Unless you've got a couple of the Liverpool lads like the Elliott and Carvalho, they've been the great enablers to probably allow you to load up on City, but and now their game time looks a little bit under threat because of people returning from injury like Thiago and Fabinho and the likes, and obviously Mel coming in. So it's nothing's settled right now. So it's not. It's one to keep an eye on, especially that back line of City. Right, Andy Barnett. Question on the five sub rule. I think medium to high value strikers and midfielders could lose out on points due to being taken off during a game their team is winning, as it seems the ratings take ages to increase above 7 a lot of the time, unless you're losing 6 or 7-0. I also think defenders benefit by getting clean sheet points when they come on at the end of games. What do you guys think the pluses and minuses are of the 5 sub rule for players in different positions, and what would your advice be to us on the amount of players who normally start on the bench normally should? How many? Sorry, let me rephrase that. What would your advice to us be on the amount of players who normally start on the bench? Normally, should we have in our teams? A lot of normalies in there, and it confused me. Basically, how many of the players that are just popping on, like, a bit like Sessegnon and Simicast, how many of them should we have in our team rather than the nailed on stars? Ben.
Well, I've got 5 Simicas in my teams now. I think I've got about 8 Sessegnons. What else have I got?
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, Dallo could be one. Plays if he starts in the even if he comes off the bench in the Europa League, could be interesting. Kulusevski could get minutes off the bench in Europe, or could start. And obviously he's in an attacking team. Same with Carvalho and Elliott. They could get goals. or assists. Yeah. Is there anybody else I've missed, James?
I can't think of anyone else that is a sort of guaranteed player, almost guaranteed to come on to
Yeah.
sweep up a clean sheet or something like that.
I'm
No.
still waiting for Doherty to come off the bench.
Yeah.
Because if he does, that's a good price, 2.4.
I was chatting to a Spurs friend of mine
Mm.
in the week, and he thinks Doherty is way down the pecking order, which is
Really?
completely against what Conte was saying in pre-season. And if
Yeah.
I'd have spoken to this Spurs fan before I'd done my teams, I wouldn't have started with
Yeah.
4 or 5 Dohertys because I was convinced that he was going to start and come on, and do well.
Yeah. At least come on.
But yeah, no, I can't think of anyone else at the moment.
The wing backs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wing backs, defenders, like people like coming on to shore things up. I think Arsenal brought Rob Holding the other week, didn't they? Like just as an example, like there's a lot of people that are just coming on, especially just to like nullify the game and kill the game off. How many you should have? Well, I don't think there's a magic number. But can't go wrong with a few Sessegnons and a Dalot.
I would say you probably only want a couple of those in your side because they're going to be cheap players because otherwise you wouldn't do it with them.
Yeah.
And there aren't that many cheap players that are in that position. So I would say 2, 3, and maybe 3 at a push if somebody else comes to light that we haven't thought of, and that starts happening with.
Yeah. I think as well, Andy, I think with your first point, I think you've answered your own question about the medium to high value strikers and midfielders that are losing out on the 7 ratings and other things because if the teams are going 2 or 3 up, you're going to see them come off and they probably will miss out on ratings. It's a very good point. It does seem to they seem to be being quite snidey to the forward players so far with the ratings and a little bit more lenient, should we say, to the defenders that are conceding. And it's one we need to keep an eye out and monitor for the next few weeks and try and get our heads around this new rating system. Yeah, it is. It's a good point you raise, Andy. There will be some big players missing out on whether it's Starman, whether obviously they've scored a couple of goals and they're on like an 8 rating. They're coming off at 60 minutes, 65 minutes, and you've got somebody who's making quite a few tackles. Next thing you know, you've got a centre half winning the Starman, even though Yon Mon, who's won the game, is sat on the bench now. We're gonna have to try and track that. Right, on to Luke. Kane versus Jesus. Big price difference, but a big point difference by season's end. Will it be, James?
So I would expect Kane to get at least 50 points more than Jesus. Kane's likely to play more European games and is on penalties. I mean, it could be 70, 80 points, but I would say somewhere between 50 and 80, I'd say.
Yeah.
I agree with you, mate. I think Kane's definitely going to be on a lot more points than Jesus at the end of the season. What do you think, Tone?
Yeah, he's like you round off with these Salah ones earlier about how they finish every season. I think Kane's got a very similar track record to Salah. I think he's been in the top 2 for the last 3 seasons. I think it is. Yeah, he's got the history. Jesus though, he started the season really well at Arsenal. Like Kane, he's going to be playing 95% of the games. He's the main man. He's the big money signing, and I don't know. I think it could be closer with what we think. But obviously, Jesus doesn't have the penalties, which is a big factor. Yeah, interesting. But never back against Kane. Kane will finish in top 3 scorers again this season.
You think he'll play in Europe then, Jesus?
I'd like to think so. I'm
Yeah.
praying so because I think if I look how many teams, 1, 2, I've only got him in. Only going to be in 4 teams now, actually. So I've got a couple of Martinellis in there. That's why I didn't want to make too. I know a lot of people did the Jesus to Nunez move, which could well pay dividends. I just wanted to see what Arsenal were doing in this first round this week,
Yeah.
in this first game, and see what they're going to do in Europe. If Jesus plays, he stays in my teams. If he looks like he's going to be rested in Europe, then I think there's then a case to move him on, definitely, because I might as well have Mitrovic or Ivan Toney in my team.
Yeah. Good point.
Do you know what I mean? It's not. We're not getting the fixture volume then. So, and like you say, we're going to play fixture volume. Right, John Cameron. Which duo will get more points in September, Kane and Saka, or Jesus and Diaz? Diaz being the Liverpool Diaz. James.
It's a tricky one, that. I gave it a lot of thought. I'm going to go for Kane and Saka because they're both on penalties. Plus, I think Jesus might get rotated in Europe.
Yeah, Ben.
Totally agree. Like you said about penalties, that's a big factor for me. I think that's the main one. Kane and Saka, definitely.
Yeah, full house. Saka looked good as well today, actually. He looked quite quiet over the last few games, but I must say he did look more dangerous today. Flower Pot Man. Good evening, guys. Who the fuck doesn't own the Viking? Just end the pod with this.
What's he like?
Well, where's the stats? What's the percentage owned on Haaland?
Very, very, very high, Tony. In
It's
the top
69%. So it's 31% don't own him. And obviously, they're struggling a little bit. And that's it for the questions. So we've ended on that. Flower Pot Man, don't worry. Yeah, if you haven't got Haaland, you need to get him in.
Have you got him in every team now? You two?
I think everyone but the one that's at the bottom, which was
Yeah.
the Liverpool block. I mean,
I've got him in every team apart from one, and that is the team at the bottom.
That's the same full house. I've got Nunez in instead of Haaland in that one. My Liverpool team at the bottom.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Thought I'd do something different because it's quite far behind now.
Yeah. That's it. You got to try and think outside the box. Right, onto the league tables. The Dream Team Tonic Cash League. Ben, back from your holidays, want to give this a read out, the top 10, mate?
Yeah. Right. In joint ninth place, we have Andrew Haynes and Paul Kinman. 8th place, Jonathan Perrow. 7th place, Jonathan Perrow. 6th place, Leo Reed. 5th place, Andy Kirkham. 3rd place, Brian Gillen. Joint 3rd place, Stephen Bestwick. 2nd, Dan Bartlam. And 1st, Leo Reed.
Good start. 2 teams up there, Leo. Doing well. Same. Jonathan Perrow, I think we're first and second last week, I think. Some decent starts up there. It is all quite bunched. We're not far off. I think we'll soon be reading one of our names out on there. Fingers crossed. Right, and James, the DT Tonic Patreon League. Would you like to give that a read out, mate?
It would be my pleasure, Tony. In 10th, we've got Lee Hooper. In joint 8th, we've got Barry McCormack and Martin Bratley. In joint 6th, we've got Steve Broughton and Patrick Bryson. In 5th, we've got Peter Franklin. 4th, Brian Blackett. 3rd, Rick Lawrence. 2nd, Connor Tobin. Top of the shop, Jake Bevan.
Yeah, Bevan. Great start, mate. Just while I remember as well, it's the game week 5, so it's the money week in the Cash League. So whoever finishes on Thursday evening with the highest score for the week, £50 will be winging its way to you. I'll track you down on Twitter, or if you drop us a message if you've joined via email or something like that and I can't find you, gives a message. I'll hunt you down anyway. So good luck to whoever wins that. I'll just have a quick run through the top 1K ownership, James. I'll flick through top 5 of them, top 5 owned players in the top 1K.
Yeah, so no surprises at all. Erling Haaland at the top, 99.9%. In second place, we've got Trippier, 82.2, Gabriel Jesus, 79, Kevin De Bruyne, 76, and Nick Pope, 72.
One team in the top 1K doesn't have a Haaland. They need to get that rectified. Right, most transfers in since last week. So the latest in, the top 5 players transferred in this weekend. Odegaard is up there at 51,000. No surprise after his exploits so far this season. Doing well. Haaland, 36,000 transfers in. Good move, people. Good move. Sterling, 32,000 people transferred him in for his 0 points this week so far. Pascal Gross, Brighton, 23,000 transfers in ahead of a double game week. A single for Brighton. I think he got an assist today, did he, Ben?
Yeah.
We've promised not to mention an L word, so we've done all right so far. So
Yeah.
we won't do it now.
That's no.
And in 5th place, Saliba, 21,000 transfers in. I think he got a -2 or -3 today, did he?
I think I jumped off all my Salibas.
Well, Saliba's gone. But save yourself 3 points there. Right, latest outs, Ben. Who were the ones that got kicked out?
Oh, well, Zinchenko's top of it. Everyone thought he was injured.
Yeah, trolled us.
Yeah, came back in today, but I think he got a -2. So not too bad. 32,000 people sold him. Salah, 26,500 people sold him. Son, what's happened to him this season? He's at 25,900 people sold him.
Goal disallowed and hit the crossbar this weekend.
Yeah. It's coming, isn't it? As soon as he scores one, he goes on a little run. He always does it.
Yeah, he does.
So just keep your eye on that one. Kulusevski, still 3.6 million. I think he's still quite good price. 16,700 sold him. And Jared Bowen, ahead of a lovely run of fixtures, 13,000 have sold him. What do you think of that then?
Some big players there, isn't there, that could burn. Really could burn you. Salah, Son, Kulusevski and Bowen could have done some damage to you this weekend, but no surprises, really. Zinchenko, obviously the troll with his injury. Right, differential league. So obviously the first month's down. I had first pick, and it proved a fruitful one for me. Martinelli, 32 points, which has left me at the top.
Fantastic.
Second place, Madison, for you, Ben.
Get in.
16 points. The community, third place with Mount. You got him 6 points. James, you had Mahrez, and he's not started the season yet. 0 points.
0.
And last but not least, Fergie with his Matic pick, who obviously had got the -1 and got the injury. So the September pick order went switched back around, obviously, because it goes to whoever's sat in last place and ascending. So Fergie had first pick this month. He went for Nketiah, saying that he hopes that he picks up a few hat tricks in Europe, was his words. James, you got second pick. You went for Alvarez at City. If he gets a few more minutes, I can see him starting during the week in Europe. The community, they voted for Bilder. Ben, obviously, you just touched on West Ham's fixtures. Your choice is Bowen for the month.
Yeah.
And my choice is as mentioned earlier, Gunderwang. So hopefully you can keep a good start going.
I hope he doesn't listen to this podcast. He don't now anyway.
Yeah, he see the funny side, I'm sure. yeah, that's all for tonight. Thanks everyone for listening. If you want to join the family and get more content and get involved with us more, join the Discord and yeah, improve your game, as we say. Head on over to patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic. The link will be in the description below, as well as our Fantasy Football Hub link. Get yourself over there. Less than the price of a coffee. Get yourself plenty more Dream Team content. A great set of lads and ladies on there. Yeah, it's great to have you both back. Have the team back as three. That's it. Now the summer holidays are over. It's
Back to business.
back to business. It's been a slow start, but I'm sure we're gonna smash it. So have a good evening, lads. Until next time.
Cheers, boys.
See you next time.